I think it's no surprise to anyone that Japan is currently in a dire population crisis. Not enough Japanese youths are having kids, and the older generation are living older and older by the year, resulting in a declining population that is made up of primarily older people. And this is not a problem that is just unique to Japan. In fact, the entirety of Eastern Asia is struggling from this similar issue. And I don't think you need me to tell you that that causes all sorts of issues in the long run. So the idea of having kids, breeding the next generation, breeding the younger generation is a big point of contexture, especially in Japan. And it seems like one man is up to the task of saving Japan from that crisis. But the way that he is doing it is absolutely insane. So I'm going to give you about 5 seconds to just read the title of this article. And let me just tell you, this is not like cap. This is 100% legit. There is a Japanese man out there, 35 years old, who has 4 wives, 2 girlfriends, hasn't worked in 10 years as he entirely depends on all of his wives and girlfriends to live off of, and wishes to have 54 children in the future. So my friend sent me this article, and I just had to cover it in a video because this is fucking insane. People, mostly men, generally get offended when they are accused of living off their spouses. And I feel this is like, a long-standing tradition, even in the Western tradition, but definitely in Japan, there is actually a term of husbands or men who live off financially dependent off of their partners, and that's called himo. And if you ever hear someone calling you a himo or calling someone else a himo, just know that there is only negative connotations towards that word. Basically, you are freeloading off of your partner financially, morally, mentally. Basically, it's not a good thing. But that's not the case for 35-year-old Watanabe Ryuta, a self-professed expert when it comes to mooching off his 4 wives and 2 girlfriends. God, what a start to an article. That immediate. I want to first of all give a round of applause to whoever wrote this article, because goddamn, they know how to hook us in from sentence number 2. Or is it just the fact that this man right here in the middle, yes, this is the man right here that will save Japan from the population crisis with what I'm going to assume is wife number 1 and wife number 2, or it could be wife number 3, number 4. It could be girlfriend number 1, number 2. I don't freaking know. This man has partnered and courted with so many women that he has become a self-professed expert on mooching. He is a fucking diamond rank moocher. Ryuta lives in Sapporo with 3 of his wives and 3 children. He said he hasn't had to work rather for the past 10 years and completely lives off the paychecks of wives and girlfriends. And I am kind of glad that the article kind of started off with this, accusations of living off of their spouses being a negative thing, because I think a lot of people will agree. I think, it's called a partnership for a reason. You work together. And for a lot of couples, it is very unfair that one or either of the partner lives off of one another. But of course, that's not always the case. A lot of the times there are people who are just completely happy to be the caretaker in the relationship and maybe just want their partner there for emotional support, and I think that is totally valid. At the end of the day, as long as nobody is getting hurt, I think people can do whatever the hell they want. And this is most certainly the case with Mr. Watanabe over here, who is certainly doing something controversial, especially in the eyes of the Japanese. Conservatives are fucking shaking in their boots right now, pissing their pants at just how much of a professional moocher this man really is. So this article is quite recent because he was recently featured on a Japanese infotainment program, Abema Prime, which is really massive here in Japan, where more was revealed about his unique family arrangement. So let's check it out. I'm thoroughly interested in how the hell or what the hell the structure of this household supposedly is. Ryuta basically plays the role of a house husband. He is in charge of preparing everyone's meals, doing household chores, and looking after his kids. And look, that is a valiant thing. At least he's not just like lazing around, doing fuck all in the family, right? Like I think he even his like skewed vision of creating a family and creating a household is still intact with the little morals that he has of, well, I haven't had to work for 10 years, so let me just do everything else while the ladies go to work and pay for the rent and food and everything like that. Let me at least, clean the house and take care of the kids and, do all the household chores, because otherwise it really is unfair. And even though these women are completely fine with me sleeping with a bunch of other women and having kids with a bunch of other women, they may not be okay if I don't vacuum the house every now and then. The household expenses, which come up to almost $8,000 per month, are split between his wives and girlfriends. Yes, even those who don't live with him. Which is fucking crazy. He has 2 children with his first wife, who is 22, which is wild. I mean, there is a 13-year gap between the two, and that was his first wife. His second wife chose to keep her age private, while his 27-year-old third wife just gave birth to their child 5 months ago. His fourth wife is 24 and doesn't live with the family. Here is his family tree. As of right now, the fact that he's wearing fucking aviators in this family tree photo is hilarious, and he just gives off the most alpha energy that I've ever seen in my life. He's just standing there like, yeah, look at this harem that I have created for myself. I am the king, boys. I am going to be the savior of this country with all of my wives and all of my goddamn children. So you might be wondering, Yuta, what's an abe? Alpha fucking man, however you want to call him. Why are you doing this? Why are you courting all these women, having children with all these women? What is the motive behind being a man with 4 wives and 2 girlfriends? Simply put, he says on the show, Yuta said he simply likes women. Ain't no way, dog. When I realized that we were already living in such an arrangement, as long as we all love each other equally, there wouldn't be an issue, he said. I guess, as long as him and all of his wives, all of his girlfriends, and all of his children are cool with it, then I guess you're cool with it. But, I think every other person who is in a monogamous relationship or, not in a relationship but just believes in monogamy, is looking at this and going, God damn, you are psychotic, bro. How the hell did you manage to do this? The wives who live with him have their own rooms, and he takes turns to sleep with a different wife every night. That's just so funny. You know those like harem anime where like it's like one dude, or like hentai where like it's one dude in an entire high school where like the high school used to be an all-female school, and then from this year it's become a mixed school, but oh my god, shocker, only the protagonist is the only man at the school. You see that kind of plot all the freaking time. This is literally that. This is literally like if that protagonist went into the girls' dormitory and was like, all right, you're my wife for today. I'm going to sleep. Don't worry, babe. You're on Tuesdays, okay? Number 1 over here is on Mondays, and according to my clock, it is a Monday. The fact that there is some kind of like order to this chaos somehow that they managed to figure out and all agree to is fucking crazy. And also the fact that like wife number 4 doesn't even live with them, bro. She's married to a man who has 3 wives and a bunch of children in between these 3 other wives, and decided, you know what, I'm gonna marry this man. I don't have to live with you though. I just need the marriage certificate. I think that just goes to show that for some Japanese people, the importance of marriage is not so much, having like that marriage, that monogamous marriage, that idea of I'm gonna spend the rest of my life with this person, and I'm gonna be the only one who's gonna spend my life with the rest of this person. I think for a lot of people, or some people rather, it's just like the status of being married is what's more important than the actual marriage itself. I might be reading too deep into this, but that is the only way I can wrap my head around why wife number 4, 3, and 2 decided, hey, you know what, I'm gonna go for this guy. His other goal, I guess, of courting all these women is that his goal is to break the record for having the most kids in Japan. This man in 2024 is trying to get into Guinness Book of World Records. Japanese shogun Tokugawa Ieyasu, who lived in the late 1700s to early 1800s, is the record to beat with 53 children. And look, that kind of makes sense, right? Because 1, he was a shogun. He was literally the most powerful man at the time in the entire country. Number two, in the 1700s and 1800s in Japan, during the Edo period, this is like right in the middle of the Edo period, you know, the idea of polygamy was not that uncommon. This was before the Meiji Restoration, where like a lot of Western values started to come into Japan, and monogamy for the longest time was more of a Western value than it was an Eastern value. So it made sense for someone like Tokugawa Ieyasu, a shogun at the time of the Edo period, before Japan got westernized, to have a bunch of, you know, women that he was courting, and in between all those women having a ton of fucking kids. But this is 2024, where Japan has definitely been westernized for over 100 years or so, and the idea of monogamy now is so common to the point where some Japanese men and women don't even believe in monogamy or polygamy. They don't believe in getting married at all, or at least they don't believe in having kids at all, hence the whole crisis population that is going on in Japan right now. The man said, I want to overtake Tokugawa Ieyasu. As such, I want to have 54 children, so my name can go down in history. I am still searching for a new wife. This guy is like a modern day shogun, bro. He has lost the plot. Blood is going around saying, you know what? I don't have to break the record by a lot. I just have to beat it by one. That will satisfy me. 55, too much. 54 though, perfection. And here's an Instagram story of where I guess he went to dinner with his 3 wives. I do like the fact that he is following, I guess, the order where he is sitting next to his first wife, directly sitting next to his first wife, and then it kind of goes in order of that. You know what's one thing I want to find out? I want to know what the women think. The dude's motives are very clear. He wants to go down in history as the man who spunked the most women and had the most children in the entirety of Japanese history. But I want to know what the women's motivations are. Like, are they just like wanting to like be part of the whole marriage thing? Do they just want the status of it all? Or is this guy such a charmer that he managed to convince these women to stay with him and help in breaking the record of the most children ever conceived by a single Japanese man? Here's another one where they're having a date over at Starbucks. Oh, I guess this was maybe after the meal, so now wife number 2 gets to sit next to him. It's like, hey, wife number 1, you got to sit next to him during dinner. It's my turn now. It's rotation time. Ryuta's wives do not seem to have an issue with the arrangement as well. According to his first wife, who is this woman right here, she says Ryuta has a sort of charm that she can't find in other men. A sort of charm, eh? God, I need to fucking interview this guy, bro. I legitimately need to interview this guy. If you guys like this video enough, I will find this man. I will try and get in contact with this man, and on the main channel, I will interview this man because I need to know what kind of guy this person is. Like, I need to know the charm that his first wife, so-called, is trying to figure out, because you know what? I've met a lot of charming dudes in my life. I've met a lot of charming women, a lot of charming people in my life, right? Like, you know, having charm is not necessarily like a unique thing. I would like to think I am myself a charming man, but I am not charming enough to convince 4 women to marry me and try and have 54 children. That is on a whole different level of charm. This man used all of his skill points in charm and nothing else. His entire skill tree is empty other than the charm stat. She was aware that he had other girlfriends when they first started dating and is on board with living as a whole unit. Living as a whole unit. I mean, yeah, the unit, I think, is the only way to describe this circumstance. His second wife, on the other hand, initially wanted to break up with him upon finding out about what their marriage would be like, which I think is a very natural, reaction to that. I think any man or woman will go, oh, I want to marry you, but you already have a wife and you already have kids with them and you haven't broken up with her, like you're still together. Yeah, that's kind of cheating. I'm not down for that personally. I would like a monogamous relationship. I'm not really down for the polygamy thing. However, she has come to accept her lifestyle, saying that Yuta is very fair and that she lives a very comfortable life. She's gotta be capping, bro. How did this man convince her that he is very fair? This man hasn't worked a day in his life for the past 10 years, has a wife already with children, and plans to have multiple wives after the second one with multiple children. What did he say to her that made her go, hey, you know what? This guy's got a point. That is a very fair thing that you are doing right now. I totally get it. I think this is equal trades. Oh, you don't work a day in your life and just get us pregnant. And what do you do in return? Hoover the house once a week. I've seen Full Metal Alchemist before, and this is an equivalent exchange if I've ever seen one. Despite Ryuta's plans for a massive family, there are legal limitations he has to deal with. Japan's marriage laws do not allow for polygamy, and Ryuta cannot be legally married to more than one woman at a time. So yeah, as I mentioned, during the Meiji Restoration, when a lot of Western values started to come into Japan, they obviously outlawed polygamy, which, I'm not going to open that whole can of worms of, I think there's nothing wrong with, being part of the whole polygamy thing. Like, at the end of the day, bro, if you think that there's nothing wrong with polygamy, that's your prerogative. That's totally fine. I accept that. I personally am, a little bit weirded out by the whole polygamy thing. I definitely believe more in monogamy, but hey, that's just me. I'm not judging. I just think this situation is fucking wild. So how is he getting over this whole, marriage law system that Japan has implemented that does not allow for polygamy? Well, he marries whomever is next in line to become his wife, then divorces her so he is legally able to wed the next woman again. Ryuta, his wife, and his ex-wives then live together following the rules of an actual marriage. And look, when people say like, oh, marriage is just a construct, I think this man has just proven to everyone that may very well be the case. It might as well just be a social construct, because this man just figured out the loophole of like, well, if I can't, be in a polygamous relationship, then I will just be in a cyclical monogamous relationship and just leave, equal terms with my ex-wife and just be like, hey, you know what? I know you're not like legally my wife right now, but we can still be roommates. Aside from his 4 wives, Ryuta also has 2 girlfriends. 2 more women next in line to be maybe wife number 5 and wife number 6. Who knows? Or maybe he's picking and choosing. I don't know. This man just read 100 girlfriends once and was like, I need that in my life. Last week, he announced on Twitter that he has already picked out wife number 5 and they would have spent Christmas Eve together. Oh my god. For those of you who don't know, Christmas Eve in Japan is kind of like Valentine's Day in the West. It is actually more of a holiday or day of celebration for couples rather than families, because the day that is for families in Japan is actually New Year's, which is interesting that in the West, it seems to be like almost the opposite. Christmas is like the time where you spend with your family, and then New Year's is when you can go out with your friends and get shit-faced. So interesting how that dynamic works. So yeah, this man is, I guess, living the harem life in real life, and he may as well be the person to, again, save Japan from the population crisis in the most insane way possible. So, you know what? Even though I myself do not believe in the whole, like, polygamy thing or whatever, I just need to give a round of applause to this man for achieving something I didn't think was possible in 2024. And in a sense, he is going to go down in history, regardless of whether he has the 54 children or not, as being one of the most insane people I've ever heard about. And again, I need to interview this man. I can do a whole fucking interview on this man. And if you guys want me to on the main channel, I will try and get in contact with this man and interview him, because I need to know how this man thinks. I need to know the psychology behind a person like this, because it is fucking insane. It really is. It's crazy. So yeah, I wish nothing but the best of Watanabe-san and all of his wives and all of his children. And I can't deny, there is a part of me that kind of wants to see him break the record, just to see what the world, and especially Japan and Japanese conservatives, react to it. Like, I need to see their reactions to this. But again, guys, let me know what you think about this story down in the comments below. And again, if you want me to interview this man on the main channel, just leave a like on this video, because I would actually like to, if you guys are actually interested in it, of course. I myself am interested. I need to know if you guys are interested. So let me know down in the comments below what you think. And hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to smack my face right here, subscribe to the channel. Let's keep making big channel number go bigger. Over here next to my head is a couple more videos you can check out if you enjoyed this one. Links to my social media, as well as my Patreon to support me directly. And Nonsense, my clothing line. Check it out. We make some delicious clothing. Nonsense.jp. Check it out. And I will see you all in the next one. Peace.